Whether you are a current WagerTalk TV subscriber, a fan of the extensive amount of free betting information we release, or a client of one of our incredible lineup of handicappers at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, we thank you. Thanksgiving is a holiday loaded with traditions, and we started one of our traditions years ago. Get a 7-day all sports all access from any handicapper for just $69. That's under $10 per day and just $10 more than a 3-day all access. So whether you're traveling, have a house full of relatives, or just sitting back relaxing with an incredible week of sports, you can do so with the convenience of a 7-day pass. There is no coupon needed, and you can choose as many services as you'd like. This Thanksgiving special will be available through Cyber Monday, November 28th, all for just $69. Thank you again for being part of the WagerTalk and Sports Memo family.
We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. That handsome man is Teddy Covers. And we got a jam-packed, deliciously good sports betting show for you all. Teddy, cue it up. Who's coming on?
On a Monday, you know what we're going to do. We're going to open up with Meghan Payton. She's going to give us a trio of Monday Night Football props as the Steelers battle the Colts tonight. Marco D'Angelo is going to join us next. He's going to talk some college football action. He's going to be one of the latest. Come on and tell us why we should bet against TCU. Although this week, I might agree with TCU, Kansas State for the Big 12 title. And, of course, the Bulls and the Jazz in NBA for tonight. My big game breakdown, Lakers and Pacers in the NBA tonight. And Bryan Leonard going to come on. He's going to talk about a two-team teaser that he likes, including the Steelers tonight. We'll see who he likes for Sunday as well as an NHL matchup, the Devils and the Rangers. So you're absolutely right, Prez, a loaded Monday edition of WagerTalk Today.
Teddy, before we get into everything, I want to make a statement to all listeners real quick. Guys, we've been running a promotion since last Monday, $69, 7-day all access. It's probably been the most successful promotion we've ever ran at WagerTalk. Everybody is loving on it. It ends tonight at midnight. Now, if you're in the middle of a package, you can still buy it, and it will tack on to the next, like when your package expires. I cannot stress enough. For $69, you get 7 days of everybody's plays. The next 7 days are massive in sports. We got a ton of exciting college football, college hoops, NBA, NHL. We got the World Cup. And, of course, we've got NFL. Take advantage of that package. You have to do it by midnight tonight. Teddy, you had one loss yesterday in the NFL. I had one loss yesterday in the NFL. Both of us were on Tampa Bay. I went 7-1 in the NFL yesterday. 7-1. I was a 4th and 12 and a one-handed catch away from 8-0. And you, too, almost swept. Man, what do you make of Tampa Bay?
That was a pretty dispiriting loss for the Bucs. But like we do every Monday, we'll break it down in bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. I know you brought it up to crow about your record. Well done, Lawrence. I'm glad you had a good Sunday.
Hey, baby. You know what, Teddy, dude? It's been a kick-ass NFL season. I'm excited, man. 12. Dude, you don't understand. I had so many people buy that 7-day all access last week, and Monday I shat the bed. Tuesday, the bed complained of shit. Wednesday, I had to throw the bed out. It had so much shit in it. Thursday, I slept in shit. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I cleaned all the shit away. Meghan Payton, how are you? It's a terrible segue. That's bad.
What's going on, guys?
That would be the worst segue in your broadcasting life.
Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. I hope you had a great weekend. It was fun. I wish we had more Thursday night games the way it was set up for Thanksgiving. It just feels like you get football spread out a bit and you can kind of handle red zone on Sundays. But things are good. I'm looking forward to tonight's game.
Yeah. Me too. A lot of us are. I'm in play tonight. Teddy, are you in play tonight?
I am not. I haven't played anything yet for Monday. We'll get there.
Yeah,
It's a busy
$9
morning.
Mondays,
I'm not going to be involved in the
everybody.
game, in the football game.
$9 Mondays, everybody, and I got one prop bet, and one actual bet. Megan, speaking of props, now that's a better segue. Pat on the back for the Prez. Speaking of props, you got a bunch for us. I'll hand the mic over to you and shut up.
Yeah, let's go. We've got Steelers versus Colts Monday Night Football. The first prop I'm looking at is tight end Pat Freiermuth, over 44.5 receiving yards. Freiermuth is that big athletic tight end. He's a great route runner, and he's doing well this year. He's second in the Steelers for receptions, and he's leading the team in yards. When the connection with Kenny Pickett and Freiermuth starts to get even better, we're going to see even more of a performance from Freiermuth. And because the Steelers aren't doing so hot on offense, I feel like we don't get to talk about Freiermuth enough. But he's averaging 11 yards per reception. He's hit over this number the past 3 of 4 games. I like Freiermuth over 44.5 receiving yards tonight against the Colts. Next up, let's talk about a player that is a little bit more well-known for Pittsburgh. That's linebacker TJ Watt. How about over 4.5 tackles and assists for TJ Watt? Watt is without a doubt one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. This is why he was Defensive Player of the Year last year. But one aspect that we don't talk about Watt as much is his ability as a run defender. He's an elite run defender at the point of attack. He does a good job at shutting down some of these running backs. And I like Watt over 4.5 tackles. He's had 6 tackles in the past 2 of 3 games. He's only played 3 games this season. And look, there's some pretty crazy numbers when you look at Watt and what he does and his impact on the field. I read a stat the other day. When TJ Watt is playing, the Steelers allow 20 points per game. And when TJ Watt's not playing, the Steelers are averaging 26 points allowed per game. Talk about an impact player. I like him tonight over 4.5 tackles and assists. Now let's flip over to Indy. I'm going to look at the elite running back, Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to take under 86.5 rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor. The Steelers are doing well on run defense right now. They're 6th in the league, and yet Jonathan Taylor is an elite running back. But you talk about, all right, last year he was leading the league in every statistical measure as a running back. This year, not as much. He's not hitting the over as often. He's only hit the over 86.5 3 times this season. And Pittsburgh does a good job at shutting down Jonathan Taylor. The last time they played in 2020, Taylor was having a great year, and they allowed, 74 rushing yards for Taylor. I like TJ Watt and this Steelers run defense to really shut down the Colts running back and Jonathan Taylor. Take under 86.5 rushing yards for him.
So here's what I want to ask you, Megan. You've got Jonathan Taylor under. You've got Pat Freiermuth over, and you got TJ Watt over. You put those 3 together, and it seems like you're looking at the Pittsburgh side. All right, we've got the 1 Colts guy under. We've got the 2 Pittsburgh guys over. Would it be Steelers or pass for you in tonight's game, or is this a spot where you would consider a price with Indy?
This is hard. I saw the number at 3.5 at one point, and I took Steelers minus 3.5. Do they actually come up with the win? I'm not as confident in that, and I do think that there's enough times where we see the Pittsburgh Steelers do decent in yards, or TJ Watt does have a good game, yet they still lose. I'm not as confident in taking Pittsburgh money line, but I will lay the points if you can get it at 3.5.
Meghan Payton, everyone. Megan, just awesome. Outstanding stuff. You guys can hear her every week as well on the NFL presidential address. Megan, where else can they see and hear you?
Well, hopefully we're doing more NBA tip-off shows. That's going to be a question for Ranieri. But we're doing everything on Wager Talk, primetime previews, plus money picks. As we get later into the season, these start to get really fun. You talk about NFL doesn't start till after Thanksgiving. Well, it's here. December is awaiting. So you can find all of this on Wager Talk TV and on the app, which is very, very user-friendly. Thank you guys for having me on, as always.
Oh, Megan, it's such a pleasure. Teddy covers. You know what's coming, but I want to set you up. It's bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. I just want to vent. It's a nice setup, decent segue. Thursday night, I had San Diego State in college basketball. It might have been Wednesday night. It all blends, but let's go with Thursday night. I needed them just to win. I had them as a pick 'em. They were up by 4 points with 5 seconds on the clock, and they had the ball in hand. They lost. Saturday night, I had the Detroit Red Wings in regulation. Arizona tied the game up with 26 seconds left. That was Friday night. 26 seconds left. They tied it up. Saturday, I had the worst beat of my life. You tell me what it is, Teddy. Let's go. Bad beat, bad bets, bad for the books. I hand it to you.
The worst beat of your life.
Yeah, I cannot
there were
imagine.
a couple bad beats on Saturday.
I cannot imagine a worse one.
That being said, let's talk about what happened on Friday night. We do a little bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the looks. Utah State and Boise. And frankly, this was the worst beat of the weekend. All right. Utah State is plus 17. They're down 28-23. They're in the red zone. They're driving to win the game. There's just over a minute left. You don't lose those spots very often. They're down 5 in the red zone, plus 17, driving to win the game. They get stopped on 4th down. Boise needs 1 first down to kneel. They get stuffed on 1st down, 2nd and 11, oops, a 91-yard touchdown run. It's no big deal. Utah State's plus 17. They're plus 17 and a half. Now they're only down 12, 35-23. Obviously less than a minute left. Aggies' possession goes like this. Incomplete, sack, 4th and 17, pick 6. From going to win the game to losing at plus frickin' 17. Ouch. So whatever you had Saturday night, and of course Saturday, I mean, Boise was pretty rough. Syracuse was pretty rough on Saturday.
That's rough, dude. That is
minus
rough.
10. Total of 47. Syracuse enters the 4th quarter down 10-6. 2 minutes in, they're down 17-6. The Orange are minus 10 for the game. They catch fire. 4 4th quarter touchdowns, including a late one. They were just trying to kill the clock after BC had gone for it on 4th down in their own territory. Now Syracuse is up by 15 at minus 10. Little over a minute left. BC, dink, dink, dunk, dunk, dink, dink, dunk, dunk. End zone 2-point conversion, good for some reason, to lose 32-23. The plus 10, no good. Game goes over the total. That was pretty rough. And the 2-point conversion, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I don't know why they did it, but they did it, and they only lost by 9. When it comes to the NFL, we could go on and on with beats, tough beats, bad beats. Yesterday, there were a lot of games decided in the final minute, a lot of insanity. Ravens up minus 3 at the Jags. They're up 9 in the 4th quarter again. And then Jacksonville goes for 2, so there's no push potential at minus 3 for Baltimore. Trevor Lawrence completes the passes that mattered, and then Baltimore just tied the most losses in an NFL season, went up 2 scores in the 4th quarter. You talked about Tom Brady, minus 3. Tom Brady had never lost a game when he had a 7-point lead inside of 2 minutes. What? And the Bucs had the Browns in 4th and 10. And you're right, Njoku with the ridiculous one-handed touchdown grab. Brady wins the toss. He's the most overtime victories in NFL history. Tom Brady looked old in overtime. Browns still lost the toss, still got 2 possessions, and win and cover. Tough beat for Tampa backers. You had the Bengals-Titans over 42. They're still alive. 20-16. There's 2 minutes left since he kicks the field goal to go up 7. But the Titans penalty means the field goal comes off the board. There's no comeback attempt since he takes a knee. The over, and the Titans are dead. That was tough there. And, of course, Packers plus 6.5 versus the Eagles. Philly misses the extra point, but Green Bay misses it right back. The game ends up landing right on 7. After the drop touchdown pass in the end zone of the final drive, Green Bay kicked the field goal, 40-33 final. That was tough if you had the Pack. Bad bets. They bet the Miami Hurricanes. They lost their last 4 home games, 4 of them by 2 touchdowns or more, including this one to Pitt. That was a bad bet. Sharp money was all over Notre Dame against USC. USC wire to wire, won by double digits. It's 4.5-point chalk. They bet against TCU again, like they do every week. We'll talk about that with Marco in a minute. TCU beat them again, like they do every week. This time it was ugly. Home finale coronation for an elite ATS team this season. 62-14 TCU over Iowa State at minus 9. And of course, the square dog of the week, bad bet. Vandy. Tennessee wins that game 56-0. I don't even know if I can call the Seahawks a bad bet yesterday. A couple of brutal calls down the stretch against Seattle. They lose in OT. But nonetheless, lots of Seahawks money. Didn't work out well. Josh Jacobs' nightmares for Pete Carroll this week. And, of course, the Saints 49ers over. That was legit a bad bet yesterday. Over money, overtook a bunch of money. 13-0 final. San Fran defense has not allowed a point in the last 6 quarters. When it comes bad for books, let's see. Oregon State beating Oregon. That was bad for the house. And it's worth noting, ton of Oregon State money in that game. They trailed 28-10. They won 38-34. Terrible result for many shops. A big comeback. And it went against Vegas. So when you're ever having those conspiracies, oh, Vegas wants this, Vegas wants that. Vegas did not want Oregon State to come back against Oregon. All Illinois money, -12 to -15. Northwestern goes 1-11, loses their finale 41-3. Auburn, Alabama, middles on 22. Nobody lost, whichever side they played. Only wins and pushes. If you lost betting Auburn, Alabama, look, no shame, but you need to work on your betting skills. That was a bad result for the house. Again, when it middles on 22. Ugh. Dolphins yesterday, -9 up to -14. Nobody bet Houston. They were up 30-0 at halftime. Despite the sweat at the end, Miami still gets the money. That was bad result for the house. Lots of Jets money. No Justin Fields for the Bears. That wasn't good for the books. Lots and lots of under money, too. Total 48 at the open, bet down to 36.5. That landed in the middle. And, of course, there was sharp Panthers money yesterday. There was sharp Commanders money yesterday. There was loads of Chiefs money yesterday. A couple of results in the NFL that were pretty bad for the books. There you have it, Prez. There's your recap of what just happened this past weekend. Now, let's shift our attention forward.
Well, Teddy, awesome job, by the way. Shh, like barely a breath. You did not mention my bad beat. So my question to you is, what is a worse beat? You're up by 4 in basketball with the ball, 5 seconds to go, and you lose the game. Or you're on the Buffalo Bulls college football team, up 24-10 with 2 minutes to go in the game, and they lose outright. No, they did not get the onside kick. How is that even freaking possible? Anyway, Marco D'Angelo, almost. That, Teddy, is a bad beat for the ages. But that Boise State bet sounded pretty bad. What, you got a problem? You got a problem?
You came in and said that was the worst beat of all time.
For me.
The worst beat of all time.
I don't remember
we were up 2
losing.
touchdowns in the fourth and we lost the game.
Dan, cue up Carmine. I don't want to listen to him anymore.
I
Just
see what you're saying, Lawrence. Excellent description.
Dan, Carmine.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco with another World Cup short. We're going to look at a Group H game that goes today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Portugal and Uruguay. This group got a little more congested this morning as Ghana won 3-2 over South Korea. So this group is wide open on which 2 teams are going to advance, which 2 teams won't. We're going to look at Portugal. They looked very good in that first game, albeit the score was 3-2. Ghana kind of confirmed how good they were in that first game by winning today. So this is a big one for Portugal. They looked good. I'm going to take them to win here at even money and exact a little bit of revenge on Uruguay, who knocked them out in the 2018 World Cup knockout stages. So Portugal, even money as your free play winner.
Elliot writes in the chat room, finally some life on the show. What are you talking about, Elliot? Nobody wants to listen to Teddy bitch me out all day long for no freaking reason. Marco D'Angelo, I got a bone to pick with you, man. I fly into Vegas every time. You're there as my drug mule. You got my bag of edibles. You won't pick me up on Friday. What up, man? What up?
Hey, it's a busy day for me on Fridays. I do a live radio show at the Westgate, and it's just, sorry, you got to spend some of that money of yours and call an Uber. What can I say? Okay.
How'd you do yesterday, bro?
It's been a very good run in the NFL. I hit my 5% on Saturday. Not for the faint of heart. I had Texas Tech. You want to talk about the crazy game. And then Sunday, the NFL. Guys, this seems to happen every year when we get to the second half of the NFL season and we've got a lot of data to work with. I go on these runs. 6-1 yesterday. We're now 16-4-1 the last 3 weeks in the NFL and seeing things very well. So I'm happy where we're at. Heading into Monday Night Football, we got Steelers, Colts. I know the Steeler team pretty well, following my former hometown, and I go against them as much as I go with them, and I got a big play tonight for $9 Monday. You can check that out over at WagerTalk Today.
There you go. Marco D does some promotion. Okay, brother, Kansas State playing TCU, very important game. I was on Kansas State on Saturday. I would have gone 2-0 in college football on Saturday. Fucking Buffalo Bulls. Who do you like in the TCU Kansas State game, brother?
Just for the record, Kent State beating Buffalo wasn't a bad beat. I was on Kent State. That's the way I drew it up. Now, moving on to this one, looking at TCU and Kansas State, as Teddy said, week after week, the Sharps come in there and try to pick their spot to step in front of this freight train known as the TCU Horned Frogs. And I'll admit, I've been one of those that have picked spots as well. Last week was not one of them for me. I was against them 2 weeks ago when they played Baylor, but playing Iowa State last week, yes, Iowa State has a good defense, but to beat TCU, you need to be able to score points as well. You need to be able to slow that offense down, but you need to answer some scores. And Iowa State's just a team that wasn't built that way. And that line came all the way down to 9 on game day as people continued to pound Iowa State. Now, this week, I'm going to step back in front of that TCU freight train, and here's why. First off, with the outcomes of last week's game, mainly the Ohio State-Michigan game, because Ohio State got just smacked by Michigan, the door is wide open for TCU. There is no argument that they do not deserve to be in the playoff picture if they win this game. A lot of people were still going to challenge the schedule and all of that and talk about other one-loss teams that deserve it more. They are in. Win, and they are in. Now, that's a whole set of different pressure for them, and they're playing a team, Kansas State, that can move the football. Kansas State played them to within 10 points when they met earlier in the year at TCU. 2 points from that first game. Adrian Martinez, the original starter for Nebraska, played one series in that game. Will Howard came in that game after the injury. He played well, but guys, he didn't get the first string snaps that week during practice. They only lost by 10, and they were -2 in the turnovers in that game. Now you've got Will Howard, who has played 5 games, and he has been absolutely tremendous for this team, completing 63% of his passes. He's thrown for over 1,200 yards, and he's got a touchdown to interception ratio of 13-2. I'm going to take TCU. Kansas State. They're free rolling here. All the pressure's on TCU. I'll take Kansas State to pull the mild upset. 34-30, I'm calling it Kansas State.
So you know where I'm coming from. Actually, maybe not. So here, I have 2 questions. The first is why. Okay, why every week is someone coming on the show and trying to fade an undefeated TCU team when there are so many other games on the board? There are other games this week. But maybe the bigger question, because this is a scenario. We live in a world with conspiracy theories everywhere, okay? Everyone believes every conspiracy. This is fixed, that's fixed, it's conspiracy. This is worth a lot of money to the Big 12 if the TCU wins this game. From a conference standpoint, it's way better for the Big 12 for TCU to win than for the Big 12 to get shut out again from the playoffs. Does that worry you at all? In a game where quite literally a win probably equals a cover, and it's worth millions to every school in the conference for TCU to win this game. Does that concern you at all?
That's a big conspiracy theory, and I can't argue with you, Teddy. The economics of TCU winning is huge. If you want to subscribe to that, yes, then I can't. There's no way for me to disprove what you're saying there. But on such a big stage, if there is a questionable call and it's called the wrong way, like I don't know if you saw the Oregon game on Saturday, but it was early in the game when Oregon State was about to punch in another touchdown and go up 10 on Oregon. They made an erroneous call on a spot for the first down. And they went back and reviewed it, and the announcer says, this will take 10 seconds. It's clear cut. They marked it short. They got to move it up a yard, and yet they didn't. And it was worth more for Oregon to win that game than it was for Oregon State. So, yeah, it's there, but
Let me jump in.
You just can't do that on this big of a
I don't understand that analogy at all, Marco, because it's not worth anything to the Pac-12 if Oregon wins that game. Oregon's not going to the national title, to the playoff picture. So this is worth something to the conference. That's just a bad call. Hell, if you watched the Seahawks Raiders yesterday, you saw bad calls determining games. It happens. But in this instance, in the back of the ref, I don't think it's an outright conspiracy, but I worry in the back of the ref's mind, hey, it's worth a whole lot more.
It's like a superstar never getting called for a travel, driving the lane with 3.5 steps. Yes, I will agree with that.
Marco D'Angelo, co-founder of WagerTalk.com, a good pal of mine and a dude who won't pick me up at the airport on Friday. Marco, let's talk Chicago Bulls at Utah Jazz. It's +2. What might you be doing in this game?
Yeah, guys, this game's gotten a little bit of action overnight. When I sent the play into you guys last night, it was actually Utah -2.5. And then when I woke up this morning, I gave you guys Chicago that we're going to be using in this one. I saw 1.5s out there. It had moved a full point. Now we're seeing, some 2s back. But I'm looking at Chicago, and I'm going to be honest with you. My numbers have Chicago should be the slight favorite in this game. And I think we're getting a little bit of an overreaction to Chicago's last game where they went into Oklahoma City and lost. But, guys, if you look at that, they were in an absolute horrible spot. They were coming off back-to-back wins against Boston and Milwaukee, 2 of the beasts of the East, so to speak, and then they played Oklahoma City. That was, I talk about it all the time on my show, Bet On It. We find sandwich spots. That was a sandwich spot because off of those 2 wins, their next 3 games after Oklahoma City was all against playoff teams from last year. So, yeah, I think they got caught looking ahead in still celebrating the 2 wins. And I also look at the 2 teams' schedules. Chicago's played a tougher schedule right now. They're got the worst record between these 2. They got 8 wins where Utah's got 12 wins, yet they're just a slight underdog in a pick-the-winner situation. That tells me, that confirms they've played the tougher schedule. They are the better team, and I am going to take Chicago tonight. I've got them winning 119-112. And going back to the start of last season, Utah, when they're coming off a loss, they're just 14-28 against the spread in their next game. They seem to do things in streaks, and they are coming off a loss.
So comparing this year's Utah team to last year's Utah team, they've got a new coach. They've got completely new players. Like Utah's one team where I took the long-term trends and threw them out because it's nothing to do with previous Jazz teams, this year's squad. That being said, one of the things I do look at in the NBA is point spread ranges. In this pick'em range, I call it 4.5 or less for either side. The Bulls are 2-9 or 2-10-1 in this point spread range, 2-9-1 in this point spread. They've been really bad. Utah's been really good in these tight line games where the point spread is plus minus 4.5. They've been able to steal the victories. The Jazz have lost 4 in a row, returning home against a team in theory they could beat. Is this a Jazz get right potential? Is this a spot? Do you worry at all about teams that have consistently been losing in these type of point spread ranges so far this season?
That's a good point to bring up, Teddy, but it's also an angle that I like as far as Utah returning home. I like to go against teams that first game back home. Now, granted, it wasn't a long road trip, but they are coming home, losing in that get-right mindset. I think too often is a knee-jerk reaction by average bettors that they want to, oh, we're back home, they're going to right the ship automatically. As you said, this Utah roster doesn't resemble anything that we saw from last year, and I'm just not sold on them. I think that they're fortunate to be the record they have so far with the 12 wins. I've downgraded this team a lot from the team that we saw last year. And I wanted to open up on one of the two segments whenever you go, so, Marco? I wanted to say, so, Teddy, you know that I'm 10-2 the last 6 appearances on the show?
Oh, yeah.
I do know that. You've been fantastic. Keep them coming.
Yes, sir. But you know what you're not? You're not picking me up at the airport Friday. And Elliot says, shame on you. You should be honored to pick me up. Marco D'Angelo, $9 Mondays. You got a play up in the NFL tonight. I hope you kick ass, my friend. We love having you on. Daniel's son, cue up that video. Commercial break, Bryan Leonard, and let's get to 100 likes, everyone.
Whether you are a current WagerTalk TV subscriber, a fan of the extensive amount of free betting information we release, or a client of one of our incredible lineup of handicappers at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, we thank you. Thanksgiving is a holiday loaded with traditions, and we started one of our traditions years ago. Get a 7-day all sports, all access from any handicapper for just $69. That's under $10 per day and just $10 more than a 3-day all access. So whether you're traveling, have a house full of relatives, or just sitting back relaxing with an incredible week of sports, you can do so with the convenience of a 7-day pass. There's no coupon needed, and you can choose as many services as you'd like. This Thanksgiving special will be available through Cyber Monday, November 28th, all for just $69. Thank you again for being part of the WagerTalk and Sports Memo family.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some NBA for Monday night. The Lakers and the Pacers. It's a fascinating contest. We've seen early money for Indiana. We've seen early money for the over. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. I'm seeing the Lakers. Let's call them -3. Total 237.5. There are some 2.5s out there, and there are some 238s. So, like I said, we have seen money for the dog and money for the over so far. And look, the Pacers, one of the bigger surprises, one of the better point spread stories so far. 11-8 straight up, 12-7 ATS. The last 11 ball games, Indiana's won 8 of them. They're 3-0 straight up, 2-1 ATS on the second of back-to-backs. They did lose to the Clippers right here in LA yesterday. They shot a season worst 38.3% in that game and 21% from beyond the arc. Tyrese Haliburton, star point guard, after the game, quote, I think our shot selection was rough. Not getting stops didn't help. We want to play in transition as much as possible. We didn't get a ton of stops, didn't really rebound very well. That didn't allow us to play in transition. Indiana has the type of athleticism that is likely to give a team like the Lakers some problems. They have the type of size that are likely to give a team like the Lakers some problems. I understand why the money has come for the Pacers, especially with Anthony Davis still questionable. The Stephen LeBron is likely to play. Patrick Beverley, of course, has been suspended for a couple games for the Lakers. All that being said, this Lakers team 7-11 straight up, 7-11 ATS. They've only been favored once in their last 10 games, won and covered against San Antonio. The 7-11 straight up ATS record, heck, that's not telling the truth. They're 5-1 straight up again and against the spread. Their last 6, a team whose season-long record and season-long stats are lying. Indiana's playing on the second of back-to-backs. They're playing their 7th game in 11 days. For the Lakers, only their 5th game since November 13th. They've had it relatively easy schedule-wise. Who's the value team right now? I haven't said this very often in my 25 years in Las Vegas. The LA Lakers are the value team right now. I understand Indiana might give them some problems, but I think there's more money to be made betting on the Lakers at this moment than against them. The Pacers, they are what they are. They're young, they're athletic, they're going to try hard. They're not going to be a point spread dominating machine. Give me the Lakers. Shop around. Find a -2.5. Lakers over the Pacers. There's a big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Let's bring Bryan Leonard in, man. Brian, you've been sitting here waiting patiently. We have been able to regale in your beauty since the moment the show has begun. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, brother.
It's good to be back, and it's an exciting show so far. A lot of give and take, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Listen, you want to talk New Jersey Devils Rangers? This New Jersey Devils team is fascinating, man. They win 13 in a row. They lose a heartbreaking referee mess of a game against the Leafs, and then they come back and win 3. Now they got the Rangers, who are on a bit of a free fall. And it's basically a pick of -110 both ways. How are you betting this?
Yeah, it's very interesting. You mentioned the winning streak for New Jersey, and then they lose to your Toronto Maple Leafs in a game that actually, if you take a look at the shot quality, I'm thinking college basketball, the expected goals in that regard, they should have won that game 3.7 to 2.03. So they still dominated Toronto, but they didn't get the win. Now, normally when you find a team like that has that winning streak broke, we're looking to play against them. But that hasn't been the case with New Jersey. They continued to play well. It didn't take the air out of their sails when they lost to Toronto. If you take a look at expected goals on the season 5-on-5, the Devils are plus 1.30, 5-on-5 per 60. The Rangers are plus 0.34. So we've got the Devils basically a full goal better 5-on-5 on the season. And they are on this great winning streak, and it's come down to defense. You take a look at what they've done. The last 8 games they've played, they've allowed 12 goals, 1.5 goals per contest. Defense does not rest. They've been terrific in that regard. So they're playing great. And you wonder why they're pick them in this situation. Well, it's because they're playing their 3rd game in 4 days. They are a team that right now they've got Ben Sassy, you would think, but they continue to come out there and play very well. The Rangers, on the other hand, got a nice rest advantage here. This is only their 2nd game in 5 days, and they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games at home, with the only win coming against the pitiful Arizona Coyotes. So the situation calls for the Rangers, which is why we're getting a pick 'em price here with New Jersey. But I've watched New Jersey play, and this team right now, I'm not getting in their way. You're getting the best team in hockey as of right now in a pick-up situation. I'll take New Jersey.
The best team in hockey at a pick-em price. The Devils right now, a team that is on Bryan Leonard's radar for tonight on Monday. Bri, let's talk a little Monday Night Football. And you got a 2-team 6-point teaser you want to talk about. You look at the Pittsburgh side here. Tell me why you like the Steelers plus the extra points tonight, and what team you want to put with Pittsburgh for the NFL this coming Sunday.
Here's the way I play teasers. It has nothing to do on if I like a game, if I like the side, anything about it. It all comes down to numbers. You want to cover the key numbers, the Stanford Wong teasers, cover the key numbers of 3 and 7. So we've got a game right now. We're looking at Indianapolis, 2.5, slate juice. Doubt if it gets to 3. If it gets to 3, I think Pittsburgh's the right side here. But if you could take that 2.5 up to 8.5 on a 6-point teaser, that's the way to play it, especially when you take a look at the total in this game is either 39 or 39.5. Once I've heard some reports that it doesn't matter anymore what the total is on the game. It still matters to me. I'm not teasing a game that has a 57 total as opposed to a 39 total. So you're looking at a game that it should be very close, and we're getting Pittsburgh at 8.5 tonight. That's my first leg of the teaser. And to be totally honest with you, this is a great, as of right now, this is a great week for teasers. You've got Baltimore and Denver. You got Baltimore at 8.5, total of 38.5. That's what I'm looking to do it with, because we're getting Baltimore -2 in a game where they're going to be at home against Denver. We've seen Denver. Denver's offense has been horrendous. Baltimore coming off a loss. They're now 7-4, tied with Cincinnati, 7-4 for the divisional lead. Losing that game late, they come out, and I believe they come out on fire this week against Denver. But you've also got other games up there. You could take Pittsburgh against Atlanta. It's a total of 42. You can take that up over the 7. the Cleveland Browns right now, -7 on the road against Houston. They're going to take more money because they've got their big star quarterback coming back this week. I don't usually play teasers at the 47 level, but if you like that, that's another teaser possibility. There's a lot of them on the card here, and to be totally honest with you, as the line tightens up as the week goes on, your best time to play a teaser is day of the game. Problem is, I don't know if we're going to find that Baltimore -8, -8.5 day of the game. This could hit 10 and it screws up your teaser. So I'm looking to get this right now, and that'll be Pittsburgh tonight +8.5, and Baltimore on Sunday -2, -2.5.
So I want to ask you about the Baltimore side of this, Bry. Well, I think we already touched on the Monday Night Football a fair bit, but this is a Ravens team that's now found ways to lose. They last year they collapsed down the stretch and went into the offseason with a ton of negative feelings. They didn't re-sign their quarterback. They've tied an NFL record now with 4 different games where they had a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter that they lost. Isn't this a team that we worry even on the teaser line they're going to find a way to? I understand it's Denver, but is Baltimore a team we trust to win games right now? Because I didn't like their news call. I didn't like the press conference after the game. I didn't like the quotes from Harbaugh. I didn't like the quotes from Lamar Jackson. I had a lot of real concerns about the Ravens following a loss in a game that they probably should have won.
This reminds me a lot. Yep, it reminds me a lot of the Vegas Raiders. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, all we're hearing is negativity, and the team has come out and won back-to-back overtime games, showing with a lot of heart, and the players are starting to play better, and they're starting to believe in themselves. I think it's very similar to Baltimore. You're getting a team right now that coming into the season, I thought Baltimore was one of the top 5 teams in the NFL. I think still could be, but they've struggled lately. They're starting to put blame on themselves. They're studying all week long to come out and get a win against Denver. It is a concern. It was a great thing to look at because I am concerned about it. But I think they come back. They're a veteran team. They've got a great coach. They come back and win this game. I still think it's a great spot. But you're right. When teams start questioning themselves, they can go 2 ways. They can fall off the map, but most of the time they bounce back really strong, especially in professional sports. College sports, you lose all faith in coaches. It's a different ballgame. But in the NFL, in the NBA, professional sports, you come back and you've been there before and you do it again. And that's what I think Baltimore's going to do this week.
Bryan Leonard, everybody. And guys, just to let you know, breaking news, Bryan Leonard will be picking me up at the airport on Friday and will be getting me edibles. Bryan, thank you for that, man. We're greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
I think your face pretty much says that all. What do you got to promote?
7-1 run in the NHL. I gave you my best bet tonight. That's the New Jersey Devils. We've got college basketball and NBA up on the site, and still working on some other stuff. We got 3 shows today, and once we get done with all 3 of those, I'll put up some more plays.
Excellent. And the guys in the chat room are really thankful you're picking me up, dude. Daniel, cue it up, baby. All right, I got 2 NHL bets for you guys on this video, but before we get into that, it's $9 Monday. Any handicapper you want, their plays, $9. Tonight for me, I actually have 3 NFL plays tonight. I have a bet on the game, and then I have 2 prop bets. My prop bets have been insane this year. All my NFL has been amazing, and I'm coming off of a 7-1 NFL day, WagerTalk NFL ball. Also have 1 NHL play and 5 hoops plays. Guys, our $69 all access package expires tonight at midnight PST. $69 for 7 days. It goes up to $99 at midnight. Make sure to take advantage of that. And if you already have a package that is active right now, if you buy that 7-day $69 package, it'll just tack on to the end. So buy 10 of them, and then you literally get 10 weeks because they just keep tacking on. Okay, 2 bets for tonight. The first is Detroit and the Toronto Maple Leafs under the total of 2. Both of these teams play to the under almost every single game. It's 6, the under, not 2. Don't go under 2. That will lose. Under 6 on the Toronto Detroit game, and the Buffalo and Tampa Bay game over the total of 6.5. Teddy covers his opening line report up next. Theodore, you're picking me up from the airport, brother. Thank you. Take me home.
Yeah. I'll take the under on me taking you home and picking you up from the airport. I'll take the under strong on both of those bets. That being said, that's going to wrap it for the Monday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. As Prez mentioned, the NFL opening line report, myself and Drew Martin coming up right next, right here on Wager Talk TV. You know what to do. Enjoy the games, and good luck with your wagers tonight.
Whether you are a current WagerTalk TV subscriber, a fan of the extensive amount of free betting information we release, or a client of one of our incredible lineup of handicappers at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, we thank you. Thanksgiving is a holiday loaded with traditions, and we started one of our traditions years ago. Get a 7-day all sports all access from any handicapper for just $69. That's under $10 per day and just $10 more than a 3-day all access. So whether you're traveling, have a house full of relatives, or just sitting back relaxing with an incredible week of sports, you can do so with the convenience of a 7-day pass. There's no coupon needed, and you can choose as many services as you'd like. This Thanksgiving special will be available through Cyber Monday, November 28th, all for just $69. Thank you again for being part of the Wager Talk and Sports Memo family.